Boxed Off Podcast, episode 44. 44?
Yeah, 44, I think.
Yeah, cool. Of course, straight into it. New guest, new episode. Paz, how are you, brother?
I'm good. Good for a Monday evening. You got me here on Valentine's Day.
Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So we don't have birds.
We're happy with ourselves, yeah.
Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, thank you for making the trip up.
No problem.
Obviously,
Thanks for inviting me.
You live is Wolverhampton, you know?
Wolverhampton, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's what, like hour and a half away or something like that.
Yeah, probably just that.
A bit
just
less,
that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So, obviously, like I say, good to have you here. We go a bit far back in terms of when we met. So we met you in Sheffield.
That's right.
Charlie
Yeah.
Sloth's festival at the Ponderosa, which is a good laugh. So obviously,
Long time ago, that.
Bro, how long ago was that?
Pre-COVID.
Was it pre? Yeah.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. It was like three years.
I want to say 2019, maybe.
Yeah, about 3 years ago. Jesus.
Long time ago.
That is a long time. That is a very long time. Mate, 3 years ago. Bro, COVID just gets my head messed
mad,
up.
Isn't it? It's been like 3 years of COVID. Or
Yeah,
what,
literally,
yeah.
pretty much. So, Paz, introduce yourself. What do you do, brother?
What do I do? So I make cakes for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing it for 13 years now, and I started off just doing it every day, single day. Took a business on, everyday cakes, and then somehow I just ended up making cakes for celebrities, A-list celebrities, and it just went from one to another. This is pre-pandemic, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then before you know it, like I went on the BBC and they labelled me cake maker to the stars.
Mm.
And ever since just been making cakes pre-pandemics. The pandemic's really messed me up a little bit, but I'll be back on it. But yeah,
Nice.
I make cakes, but they're not everyday. Obviously, not everyday cakes.
Yeah,
They're like almost like one-off pieces. Bespoke cakes. I've never made two of the same cakes for the celebrities kind of thing.
So you couldn't go to Greg's and get some of your cakes?
No. I hope not. I can't compete with those prices.
Well, just like you said then, there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about, but you said about the pandemic and how it affected you.
Yeah.
Like, so just because you mentioned that straight away, like, how tough was that for you? Like,
Massive. So organically I went into events, because I was doing weddings, birthdays, but because of all the celebrity stuff I went into the events. I was up and down the country going to concerts and bringing out cakes, so I didn't really put any focus on the weddings or the birthdays as much as I was in previous years. But then overnight all the events have got stopped, so that really messed me up to the point that I couldn't do any of the smaller parties either. I didn't bury my head in my sand. I went out and actually got a full-time job.
Oh,
That's
shit.
how bad it got. Like, I had bills coming up everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
It was mad. It was real mad. Like and I know some people in the wedding industry. They said, "Nah, just stick it out." But I was like, "No, I can't do that."
Yeah.
Luckily, I didn't, because look what we said. 2 years on, it's still not fully gone.
No, it's not.
Some businesses have not made it through. I've just about made it through, but luckily I was able to get a full-time 9 to 5 job. Keep me going.
That's good though. But say like taking it like right back to the start. So obviously you say you've only been doing it 13 years.
Yeah.
So when you was younger, say when you was, I don't know, did you go to university? Did you do anything like that? Like what when you was younger, like what we, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't imagine when you was, younger, I want to make cakes when I'm older, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I went to college, uni. I'd done a degree in marketing and retail management just for the sake of doing a degree. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted my own business. I knew that much, but I wasn't particularly what business it was. I didn't even know if I was going to get a business right, because it's one of those dreams at uni and as you're growing up. But yeah, baking, I didn't know how to bake a cake. You could ask my ex-wife. She'll say I don't know how to cook, but just as the opportunity came along, and we just took it on board, and then the rest is history. But yeah, growing up I wasn't fussed about cooking, baking, nothing like that. I didn't see myself doing that as a career, never mind being known for that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
So you kind of just fell into that industry then, just like fell into cake baking.
I feel like life sometimes just it leads you through a certain path, and you just gotta just take it, and and that's exactly what I did.
So during these times when you was younger, when you fresh out of uni, like, what were you doing? Not just like professionally, but like as like hobbies. What were you into? What music were you listening to? Like, did you like sports, football? Like, what took up the majority of your time?
Oh, it wasn't sports. Massively into R&B, 90s R&B.
Okay.
That's my era, right?
Nice.
So, massively into that. I guess when I was living in London at the time, and that's when the whole UK garage scene exploded. So,
nice.
When Soul Solid couldn't get any venues, I went and saw them twice. After that, they all got shut down, couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that era. So as in that era, you're not into anything other than going out, partying and drinking, and you know what I mean. But just that's it, really. Nothing special. I don't kickboxing to almost tournament level.
Oh shit! Nice, nice.
And,
love that.
Yeah, I wish I pursued that actually, but too many cakes.
I bet that's a good one to come back to for you, innit? I could have done it, but too many cakes.
Perfect excuse.
I wish I would have done kickboxing, man. I actually fully do, because I love that shit, mate. Like UFC and stuff.
Still time?
No, I've got bad knees, bad legs.
I did it when I was young. Like I did it for like a few years when I must have been like.
What, kickboxing?
Yeah.
Nah.
Fucking God. I'll go and get my mum if you want me to go and get her.
We don't want to get your mum
She'll
now.
vouch it. Yeah, she's a bit pissed. But, yeah, I did it when I was primary school days, like fucking a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember enjoying it, but I wish I carried on doing it, but just never did.
Same. I wish I would have done it, me, just like something to like get your energy off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even just like a hobby as well, innit? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wish I would have done something like that, but like I said, I'm still young, but
still time.
Yeah, it's still time.
There's still time, but it's one of those. It must be hard on the body.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't do no physical activity.
That's what I mean. Boy, if I kicked a bag, my leg would fall off. I know for a fact my shin bone would snap, and I just don't want to take that risk because I like walking.
Yeah.
So I don't want to mess around with that. Do you know what I mean? That's a bit sus for me.
Yeah. But obviously, I really want to jump straight into like the stuff that the mad shit.
Yeah.
But I think it's always good to sort of give a bit of a backstory,
100.
let people know who you are and all that stuff. So obviously, leading up to starting your career in baking and all that, like, what sort of first sparked your first interest in sort of wanting to get into it? Was it like watching? I don't know how long Great British Bake Off's been about for, but was it something like that you seen on the telly, or did your parents ever bake and how did you sort of gravitate towards it?
I think the opportunity just came along. So basically, while we were at university, there was this cake business, the cake business I've got now. They approached my mum and dad saying, look, there's this cake business, would you like to take it on? But we were all at university, it was a very hands-on business, and they said no to it at the time. So then years later, once I've done my degree, the opportunity came along again, and I was like, you know what, I don't care that it's about cakes, and it's not like, I wasn't too fussed what it was, I was hell-bent on getting my own business or working for myself. Because I thought, you know what, I've come out of uni, I'm thousands in debt, I'm in a job that really, I could have gone far in that job as well, and I was getting somewhere, but I like the idea of working for yourself, being, doing what
boss.
you want, but it's far from that, you know what I mean? You're better off sometimes than 9 to 5.
Sure.
So that was the drive, really, the more the passion for having the buzz of doing things on your own code. If you work 5 extra hours, those 5 extra hours effort is going to go straight into your back pocket. And I feel like that's not always the case when you're working for an organisation. And I like that idea. I still love that idea that whatever you put in theory, you're going to get it back out. And you don't really count hours in business, right? So
100%. Like I said, working for yourself pretty much, isn't it? Like you're your own boss. You know what I mean? You have your own terms. So I mean, obviously I don't do that. I have a 9 to 5. But I'd love to do something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, fully would, because it's on your own terms then. You know what I mean? You can't point fingers at anyone else. But like you said again, it's bad in a way because it's all on you. You know what I mean? If something goes wrong, like, I don't know for your instance, but if you mess a cake up, like, I'm sure you wouldn't. But if you did something like that, like, you can't fall back on anyone, can you? Do you know what I mean?
Wrong. I have messed cakes up. Cakes have fallen and I've tried to rectify the problem, and then I mess it up again because you're panicking, you're rushing. Then you get people screaming and shouting people's wedding days and stuff. And it has happened. I'm human at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And it's horrible. That's when you think, man, I don't want that headache. I don't know how much you're getting paid. At least when you're working a 9 to 5, you go on holiday, you're getting paid to go on holiday. You fall off sick, it's fine, you're getting paid, you know what I mean? So it swings and roundabouts, so you can't really compare.
I really like the but when you say what you put into it, you get out, because I've got a 9 to 5 as well, but I freelance as well.
Oh, okay.
And like, I 100% agree with the fact that what you those extra hours that you put in, you always do 9 times out of 10 sort of like reap the rewards from it.
Yeah.
And like that sort of thing is so like that work ethic and that, you know, structure that you put into your work when you're doing it for yourself, it translates into everything, not just what I do, not just what you do. It translates into everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this might be a bit over the top. I always think of like what legacy you're leaving behind. If you've got a business, you're leaving that legacy, aren't you? And like the effort you put in now, maybe your great grandkids might benefit off it somehow, 100%. One way or another.
100%. I'm sure, like even just now, you would leave a pretty good legacy as your cake maker for the stars. That's like a nice title to leave in a good place, isn't it? So
MBE, that's what you have to
do. I hope so. That would be mint. Imagine that. Yeah. Oh, mate. See what I mean? Like the self gratification that you could get from that. Maybe it must be so rewarding, mate. Do you know what I mean?
It is when you compare it to a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
There's really no that wins hands down every time, but of course. It's a hard hours.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a long hours.
So in terms of like growing your brand and growing the business, as sort of like as an entity, obviously you say that you did marketing at university.
Yeah.
What sort of skills did you sort of transfer over from learning in your degree to helping you sort of then go on to promote your brand? Because at the time when you first launched it, how big was social media? That I don't want to make you feel old. But you know, it's only been around for a decade or so. Do you know what I mean? So
I believe, actually, when we first took it on, social media wasn't around. We were doing exhibitions, wedding exhibitions, door-to-door leaflet drops, even considered the old school newspaper adverts at the time.
Wow.
And trade magazines were big, so wedding exhibition brochures.
I don't want to be offensive, but you must. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, well, mate, I'm 40.
Oh, 40. So I'm 24, 23.
23. Yeah.
So you know, still, but like trade magazines, like I don't even know what one of them is.
Yeah,
like, I fully don't. Do you know what I mean?
I swear that those guys made a killing because it charged like $1,000 for an advert.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you imagine there's like about 100 people in those brochures.
Well, I can imagine back then that's like the only way, isn't it? Really, like word of mouth as well as the only like newspapers and stuff. Like that's crazy.
Even to the point you put like £50 off with this advert, so people are bringing in the brochure.
Oh shit! Like a snippet of it and stuff. Mad.
A bit off topic, right? But I work with a lot with like print journalism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you know, to get a paid ad in Vogue magazine, it costs like $60,000.
Jesus Christ!
It's fucking mental, and it's like
I know
it's like $13,000 for half a page in the middle of the magazine.
Vogue is massive, and obviously that still shows at the power of like magazines and shit. But wow, $60,000.
And the return that you must get though as a business. Vogue fashion.
Yeah.
We're talking makeup artists. They must get. It's big brands, alright.
They're charging $60,000.
It's your Gucci's, it's your LVs, it's your Saint Laurent's that are doing it. Like it's mental.
That's crazy. Mate.
The fact that that's still going around though, that's
it shows
pretty special, right?
Yeah, that's 100%.
It. For as long as it is, anyway, I imagine. But mate, $60,000.
Yeah, it's mental.
Vogue are doing it. No wonder they've got dough. Do you know what I mean? That's silly, that. Isn't it?
The thing is, not just Vogue though. It's Condé Nast. It's like it's a company that owns Vogue, GQ, Tatler. I swear there's like Vanity Fair, might be wrong there, but there's loads of massive magazines.
They own the whole.
It's all owned by the same. It's called Condé Nast, and each of them magazines they're charging the same price, if not a little bit less or a little bit more for. Across it's mental. And they've got Vogue India, there's Vogue London, there's Vogue in America. It's mental. Yeah, mental.
That is crazy, mate. That is crazy.
Yeah, silly money.
Go on. Well, I was going to say. So obviously, what I want to delve into the most this year is because you are cake maker for the stars, and obviously even from chatting to you ages ago when you told us about what you're doing on your Instagram and stuff, so I've wrote down a few people that you've baked cakes for, so correct me if I'm wrong,
okay,
just the first few that pop out. So obviously initially I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger was the first one, Cardi B, Bugsy Malone, Floyd Mayweather, the Migos, Sylvester Stallone, ones like Big Shaq, Steel Bangles. That's just a handful of ones that I've written down. So
that's mad, you know.
That's crazy, that man. Like, obviously, I've seen your Instagram as well. And we'll plug your Instagram. So Paz's Instagram is here. Boom. And you can see like the highlights on your page and stuff. And like when you're going like delivering these cakes and giving it with the people, like what's that like being in that environment, or even just prepping the cake for these people?
It's, you know what, pressure like you don't believe.
Oh yeah, like, do you know what, I can imagine.
Because if I was doing it for like 20 years and people know who I was, but I was still hungry at the time doing all of that. I'm like, I've got to smash this. This is, for me, that was like the pinnacle of my career each and every time.
Yeah.
Regardless of who it was, each time it was like, no, I've got to smash this. And that's stress, because a lot of the times I'm in venues where the loading is horrendous.
Yeah.
There's no parking anywhere.
Yeah.
No one really gives a shit about the cake guy.
yeah.
And they think, you're only a cake guy, go whack it in the kitchen. No, they don't understand my setup and the logistics of it all. So when we're on stages and there's wires everywhere, you got to do the trolley over the wires, you got to lift it upstairs. It's stressful.
Jeez.
At the same time, I'm out to network and smash it at me as a person, and I'm not really, I don't feel like I'm an extrovert enough to be that guy, but unfortunately I'm that guy. I'm the guy who does the cakes, right? It's all of these emotions. At the same time, I'm on stage with people who I've brought their albums, I've brought their, I'm buying their CDs, like 112, massive for me. I grew up buying all their albums. Now I'm in the green room with them, on stage with them, and it's just pressure. I'm like, man, I want to make the most of this moment, but not be too starstruck because I've got a job to do.
Of course.
But really inside I'm like, man, I want to go live and tell all the people I'm with so and so. But yeah, it's mad.
So getting into that, so Will's listed off that list of names.
Yeah.
But like, who was the first one, first of all, and how did you go about even landing the gig first and foremost? And then obviously, I guess it's a sort of snowball effect in it. But who was the first one, and how did you land it?
So after doing it for 13 years, 11 years probably at the time, I'd done a lot of Asian celebrities locally in the West Midlands. But unfortunately, they didn't allow me to film anything. But there was a management company who knew of me. So the first one was probably the biggest, Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
His 40th.
Jesus.
And believe it or not, I actually said no to it first because I was that stressed out with wedding cakes. Yeah. I don't believe in taking too much on because I learned over the years you're going to fuck it up if you take too much on. So I put the phone down. I had a man through as well. I was like, nah man, I'm not interested. Put the phone down. And then I had a moment, what the hell am I doing? This is Floyd Mayweather. I picked the phone up and said, look, I'll take it on. Because it was short, I think it was a couple of weeks' notice or something like max. Because he was in Vegas one night and then he was coming straight from Vegas to the UK.
I was just about to ask you, how on earth do you get a cake
overseas
across the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was going to say. At least he came to the UK.
Yeah. So that was the biggest. That was the first one, but I put everything into that cake. If you see the cake, like I've wired electrics through the cake, the TNT.
Yeah. Can you send us pictures of all these?
Yeah, sure.
So the Floyd Mayweather's cake is here.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen them on your Instagram, and like the highlights and like all the shit coming out of it. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. That it's not. It's more than a cake, innit? Like,
that's
more than a cake.
See, without being over the top, to me, I felt like it was art.
Yeah, it is, 100%.
For me, it was art. Like, it's not just about someone going to eat the cake. I mean, Floyd gave it to his bodyguards because did he bite into it? No, he gave it to his manager and bodyguards. So it didn't even. So it's not really so much always about the cake, but that moment for me was massive. Stressful as anything. I put God knows how many man hours into that cake, but I made it my life for that week just to make it that cake, right? And then. For me, what worked was the event was big, but all the press, a lot of the press was about the cake. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it went national. Yeah. So, he has a 6-foot cake, and not the fact that he's in Birmingham and his cars got burnt, like the TMT cars. Yeah. Obviously, press do their thing as well, right? But from there, I thought, you know what, I've got some ammunition here using my marketing background. I said, let me see where I can go with this. I don't want to be at that point I did not want to be a one-hit wonder, because in the Asian celebrities, I've done a few celebrities, I've done a few authors. I was content with that, but I thought, how far can I go when you got Floyd Mayweather under your belt? So I started networking, and I think a month later, Cardi B, because she was in the UK, and for first debut, her debut in UK.
Oh.
So if you think about how massive these people are, I've already hit the top.
Pretty much. With Mayweather, I mean, especially in his industry of boxing, he's the most well-known boxer probably of all time. Floyd Mayweather, do you know what I mean?
Probably for a while.
100%. Do you know what I mean? As well as his income, like, he's known throughout the world. Like, you could go to anywhere and probably ask people, and they probably know who Floyd Mayweather is. So that's not a bad first person to make a cake for, I can imagine.
It was stressful though. But a funny story about that. So it must have been the Thursday night. I'm going to present it on the Saturday. I was that tired. I'm working till midnight, so I put dollar notes around the bottom of the cake, and so it's a $1 note I've put. I had to send some photos to the management company. So he's sitting in the hotel, says, what the hell are $1 notes doing on the cake? So, and of course, I should be doing $100. I put his face on there as well.
Right, okay.
So in the middle of the night, I'm gassed that, man, Floyd Mayweather's seen my work in live, or parts of it, but then I had to change the whole bottom tier from $1 notes to $100 notes. But
I bet that's stress, isn't it?
It was stress, but when you're so gassed that it's for real, like, because you're thinking, is this for real?
Yeah, of course.
Right to the day, I was like, is this even for real? It was on his social media and everything, but man, Floyd Mayweather, it was crazy.
That's crazy, yeah. I'd say one thing I'd ask on that is that I don't want to basically, when you say, I've made this cake and I've hit like the top, I've hit the pinnacle of my career, and like I'm trying to compare it to sort of like, do you know, like the Tyson Fury thing where, we beat Klitschko, he'd hit the pinnacle of his career, and then from then he's like, well, I've got nothing else to win now, I've done it all. Did you ever think to myself, well, I've done it, and did you ever then sort of think to yourself, oh, well, I've lost a bit of motivation, did you think, well, fuck this, I'm not going to ever beat that, or did you just sort of keep on rolling with the punches?
I think I was that desperate to prove that I'm not a one-hit wonder. I was that gassed. I was like, nah, let's go to the next one. Because I've done that without anything really. Then I thought, surely if you got Floyd under your belt, it's got to be more than just that, and it proved right. But my motivation was ultimate peak, because I knew that I was so gassed the first time I'd done a cake for an author. This was years and years ago, and I was getting excited about that, thinking, I'm my favourite cake maker. She was a local author, and I was gassed off that. So it only got bigger and bigger. And at the end of the day, like, I was gassed. They are only human after all, but still the I don't know what the word is, the kudos behind it, and the way customers were speaking to me after that was different. Do you know what I mean? And even though I kind of hated that idea that, just because I made a cake for Floyd, now you want to know.
Yeah,
but it is, it's human nature, right?
It is what it is. I bet you get well more respect as well, obviously, and like you'll have people coming out to you and stuff. But I mean, just like the first person itself is crazy. And you said about like, so then obviously that motivated you more to go out and network yourself. Obviously with your background as well, it helped a lot. So how did you go about that then? Did you start messaging people, or did you do more events in places like that? Or
I just started networking, so I messaged. I kept my eyes so I never really went into the events other than weddings. Didn't really know about events, what was going on. So I just looked what's happening in the UK, who's coming, and who's concerts, and I thought, I've done this at a concert type of, even though it was a dinner, an evening with Mayweather. I thought it's almost on the concert level. So then I started emailing people and showing my professional photos, the press that I got from all of that, and then it just kind of worked. So Cardi B was literally a month after, because she was coming to the UK. But you know what, I didn't even know who she was. The guy just rang me, said, look, okay, he was an events company. I said, keep me in mind, because I think he had Future coming.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that level. So he's like, we've got this Cardi B coming. I was like, okay, I'll take it on because it's business. But I didn't know who she was, and when you Googled her, not many people knew in the UK. UK. But when going to the event, Miss Banks was there, all the celebrities were there. I'm like, okay, she's massive.
Good,
And then after that she blew up.
Yeah.
Massively.
Well, she's massive now, isn't she, Cardi?
Yeah.
She's huge. You know what I mean? She's killing it.
So now you've just done the first cake for Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And it's all blowing up. How did the brand change? Did your stock prices just shoot up? Did your stock just shoot up then? In terms of like, you turned it into a much more, as I say, I don't know what your business model was at the time, but did you think to yourself, right, okay, I'm now an exclusively premium cake brand now, or was it that anyway, if you get me?
No, it wasn't that anyway, if I'm being honest with you. And no, the stock, it wasn't as if next day I was getting, or the next month I was getting lots of sales. But I did think at the back of my mind, okay, I'm doing cakes for £15 as well, everyday cakes. Those are my bread and butter. Those are customers who've been coming to me for years and years. So how am I going to let that go just for the sake of a possible pipe dream over here?
Yeah.
So it was almost like it was two businesses. There's like this model where all the local regulars, they're just going to phone me up, say, Paz, I want this cake, job done, I'm going to do it. But then out of town people, I was like, okay, I'm this exclusive cakes guy. And I even at that stage thought, should I brand it differently? But I didn't have enough ammunition. Even with Floyd, I don't feel like I had enough just to separate the brand. So it was awkward trying to sell like top end cakes,
premium almost.
Yeah, when I'm doing £15 cakes.
I think that's good though, innit? At the same time though, that you still keep like your core supporters, like customers, like do you know what I mean? Because obviously, like you said, you've been doing that for a bit, and then you can't. It's hard to just look away from that with people who, let's say, you come to all the time. Yeah. And so it's good that you keep that, but then still, it's just how you do build on that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a lot of my customers were female anyway, so a lot of females, say 18 to 30-year-olds, might not necessarily know who Floyd Mayweather was.
Yeah.
They don't give two shits.
Yeah, they don't care.
When they came to Mayweather, it was a weird battle in my head. So how should I brand it up?
So what's the process now then? Obviously, over a decade on, are you just in the kitchen every day? Cooking them up? Or?
At the moment, I've taken a bit of a career break because I want to get bigger premises at the moment. But I still will be in the kitchen baking every single day. I've got staff, but I've always been hands-on in the kitchen, and there were times where I had chucked it at resource, but I come from an era where I've worked 8 days a week sometimes, right? Yeah. So I can't just sit there and watch elements of the day, but just I've still got a mentality, well, I'm not doing anything, so I might as well bake, and I know it's what I've been doing for the last 13 years. So
that's what I was thinking. Like, obviously, so now you are doing, like, let's say, more premium customers. Like, your team in itself at the start, was it just you on your own doing it, and then as maybe now your team progressed into you have people who work for you, basically?
Yeah. So when we first started, it was me, my brother, and family. My mum passed away. She was in the business as well, and then I almost felt like giving up then. And then my brother wanted out because he had kids, and this is not a 9 to 5 business. It's far from it. Yeah. Then it was just me left with my staff. My day one staff are still with me.
Oh, that's good.
Loyal as anything. I've had a few come and go because the need was just so. But I've got my core 2, 3, and they're solid. Do you know what I mean? And they know me. I know them, and they're with me hopefully till the end.
Yeah, well, that's always mega, especially having a core group of people that you can trust as well. Especially when you talk about the pressure of doing cakes for celebrities like this. Like, if you are, it's your livelihood and it's your image going out there. You really do need people you can trust in that industry.
100%. I mean, like I said, I was up and down the country. When I'm not there, the shop needed to run, and they were running the shop and keeping whatever ticking over. But it's an awkward hands-on business. Making cakes, you can't standardise it because no 2 or 3 cakes are the same. So it's difficult.
That's cool though. So now, obviously, you're the celebrity baker that you are now. Obviously, as we say, 13 years on. Yeah. So how often now are you getting these like high profile bookings? Not necessarily like, they don't have to be, it's not a everyday Floyd Mayweather, but how often are you getting the sort of people that are, the musicians, the comedians, I don't know, the authors, like you say, like is it now a regular occurrence, or is it still sort of like a once every now and
once now and again, because since pandemic's really messed everything up. So since the pandemic, I haven't really gone back into it at a big level. Now this year is a plan to go back fully into it again. So there was a time though, it was every couple of weeks. At the peak of it, it was, Cardi B and Migos were 2 weeks apart.
Jeez.
So like I've just recovered from Cardi B, and then you
go straight back in.
Yeah, to the same venue as well. So,
man. So what I was thinking was like, so obviously the amount of people you've done for, who's the hardest cake you've had to make for? The hardest, hands down, the most stressful.
The most stressful.
Or maybe the most hours you've put into one cake.
I feel like the most hours would have been Arnie's cake.
Yeah.
Because it was Predator, 30 years of Predator.
Oh,
I love that film. There's so many elements. If you want to put it in a visual, you could probably do it a million ways.
Yeah.
And I try to do everything.
Predator is my mum's favourite film.
Oh, really?
That's because it's the only film she's not fallen asleep watching. So big up mum, yeah. But yeah, she loved that film, man. That was class. Oh dear. But yeah, so Arnold Schwarzenegger, the hardest one. So how long did that take you to make?
All week, and I'm sure I mentioned it a few times on radio and TV, is that I actually made the face, the torso of the Predator.
Yeah.
I wanted to put that on top, but I was only going from Wolverhampton to Birmingham to deliver it. But it was raining, so it was very humid that day, and then the stage wasn't ready for me. By the time we got to the venue, the whole torso had just got damaged because of the humidity and stuff. So it was going to be even bigger.
So when you do something like that, and you create, obviously, like I said, the torso, is every single thing on that cake edible?
Not everything. No, there's lots. Because obviously, a lot of the times it's not to feed the thousands.
Yeah, for the occasion.
Yeah, but the icing's all real. But inside can be like polystyrene dummy cakes, but a lot of people do that for their wedding cakes as well, so they'll have real icing, real decoration, but the actual cake inside is polystyrene. It's the same amount of work though, really. Baking is very robotic. You can't standardise that, but it's a decorating where the time comes in. But sorry, what was the question again?
Well, initially it was who's the maddest cake it made for. So if Arnie's the one, I can understand that 100%. Another one as well is, what's the weirdest request that you've ever had while making a cake? Like the strangest type of cake that, or here's a different one. So when they come to you and say, I want a cake, do they give you any idea, or do they just say, right, here's a blank canvas, you make me a cake, I'll tell you if I like it?
Depends. Like we've done. So the whole, well, not the whole Catalyst thing, but you know Catalyst, Big Shack.
Oh yeah.
Because they've used this a couple of times, I think, for Blade Brown's. What was his? I feel like it was his.
Big up Blade Brown.
Yeah.
Real G.
He needs to come on the pod.
If you know him, Paz, so shout us.
I just made a cake. I'm nobody. So his team, they'd used this a couple of times. So it was a case of it's a launch party for his bags and boxes, was it?
Bags and boxes.
So it was kind of just left to us with a bit of input, but then other times they can get quite specific. Floyd Mayweather was half kind of, the management company was like, okay, why don't you do this? But they have free reign.
I can imagine they'd be like, obviously they want the money team on and stuff, and that money, you can imagine on like boxing gloves, you know what I mean, or something like that. You can imagine.
Of course. Certain brands as well, if whatever brands are sponsoring the event, you've got to have their logos, so you get told. But the creativity wise, I've got to say most of the celebrity ones been left to ourselves to just do our thing.
Okay, that's good. That's interesting. So you, as well, obviously you do design the cakes, but then you've got to come up with like a concept of an idea as well that the artist will like, which is probably more added pressure as well, isn't it? Because not only is they've got to like the cake, but the image of it, like you say, the celebration of the cake has got to appeal to them as well, isn't it?
It is, but I feel like that's where I love that. I love the creativity and being able to do, because with my everyday in the wedding cakes, they know what they want. You're getting told, you do this, you do that, but then when you're given full reign and you know you're going to do the best because it's in the front of 1,000 people, social media and the videos and that, like 112 for example, that was free reign on that, and I had to put peaches and cream on there, but because we got rushed on the stage, I think I left the Peaches off. I can't remember now, but we were with them in the green room afterwards, and the Peaches and cream. But you got to when you make it for 112. Then Genuine, that was left to us, but they were quite particular because it's 20 years of the Bachelor album.
Right. Okay.
So I had to again incorporate that. Little elements have always been dictated to us, but the rest is the fun bit.
Yeah. Actually, but listening to you like the design process behind all these cakes, I can't believe we didn't ask you this before. But like, you've only been doing it for 13 years, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that long.
Yeah.
Was you just naturally good at it?
The design, like I didn't realise how good that was only when people start saying, like the Floyd Mayweather one, for example. There was a lot of people I knew in the room, a lot of tables booked out by businesses who I knew, and when you've got it from people who have been using my services for years, but even they're like, man, that concept that you did was amazing, and everyone's talking about the design part of it. That's when I realised, wow, that came to me naturally. That was probably the most easiest thing for me to do, as opposed to like, I don't know, the actual work, the designing of it and the thought process is the easiest thing. But half the time it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, I can't get to sleep, so I'll get a pen and paper and start sketching it out. But I mean, I've watched Predator hundreds of times as I'm growing up, but for that project I made sure I watched it a few times just to get the little snippets out. But I feel like any creative piece of work, you need that inspiration. But when you're a fan of what you're doing, I was a fan of Predator, I'm a fan of the Bachelor album. It's a different kind of motivation and thought process.
Like on this pod, and even like more Jack especially, like we speak to artists, and I know he speaks to artists like personally, just in the music industry, and like even just in that concept. But no matter what your industry is, there's one thing doing it for a living, but if you enjoy it as well, the outcome's so much better.
And never work a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly. It's not work, is it? Do you know what I mean? Because you still enjoy what you do, and it really shows in your work as well, doesn't it?
100% agree with that, definitely. But I mean, it's if you really, a lot of people will say that I love doing it, but they don't realise what's involved in the whole process. And I feel like a lot of people in baking especially will go into it and think it's all glitz, and they might look at what I put on social media and think it's all glitz and whatever, but it's far from it. But if you enjoy the low level stuff like the baking or the decorating or the designing, then you're not working a day in your life.
Here's one then. Hypothetically speaking, Great British Bake Off come knocking. Surely you're going on there and cleaning up.
Great British Cake Off.
This is the thing. I feel like I don't claim to be the best cake baker in this country.
Cake maker for the stars. Do you not like that type? Is that a bit like, it's not really me?
It's not really me. But I've been asked this question before. See, with that programme, it's different elements of baking. I bake probably 12 to 14 flavours in my life, and I've experimented. But on that, there's decorating. I could smash the decorating, right? But it's more about the baking on that. Experimenting, and I can just bake cakes. I don't do pies, pasties, anything like that. Biscuits, I'm just purely cakes.
No Greggs, just cakes.
That's it.
No, I like it, man.
It's one of those people say, like you just said, I should be cleaning up on that programme, but no,
that's not.
I'll be totally honest. I probably I wouldn't. It's not me. I wouldn't take it on. To be honest.
So what's it like? So obviously you've done all these stars and all this, and then like the BBC give you labels and stuff like that. Like, what does it feel like? What's to yourself? How do you accept it? Are you trying to be humble with it, or is it like, I can understand? Just even speaking to you now, you're not walking in like, I make cakes for the stars, I'm the best in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Well, in my close group of friends, I'm a wanker. I'm such I'm that guy. Get away from me. But I feel like they're only people at the end of the day, and it's, when I look at it from a business point of view, it's my day-to-day customers who have paid my bills, right? Not the odd celebrity here and there. So that's my thinking. But don't get me wrong, like, I've been stopped and one guy asked for my autograph. I was like, what, you want my autograph? I'm not even, I'm what you're doing kind of thing. It's amazing. I'd never thought in a million years. And when I look at the amount of press which been around me, I would never thought in a million years there'd be a whole wall of press just on me doing what I've been kind of just life's just brought it to me. It's not as if I wanted to do it from day one. So it's amazing, and like for me, it's everything to show my child is, look, I was not an expert on cakes, but I put my mind to it, and you know, without being a cliche, look what I achieved by focusing and never giving up. Even though, man, I've had days where I still want to give up. Even now, I think should I just knock it on the head, but you know, I haven't come this far just to give up right now.
Of course, I hear that, mate. I have one more question which you can ask if you want, but you don't have to, because I understand it's a business. What's the most you've ever charged for a cake?
That's a good
question. If you can disclose that, because I understand, you know.
It was actually a wedding cake.
Oh, okay.
But they wanted to use myself because I was the guy who done Mayweather's cake, Mayweather cake. I can't remember which rapper was a massive fan of that rapper, and one of the Asian artists was actually performing at their wedding or has done at their party. So for that, it was close to, over $2,000.
Right, jeez, wow.
So yeah,
just for a cake, man.
But in the bigger scheme of things, I know there's wedding cake companies out there who are charging ridiculous amounts, but I've always known my local market, and I don't believe in like chucking extra zeros on there.
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to get...
Like you said, Nick, just because you've done one with Mayweather or something, you're not going to start pushing up your prices because it's your brand, innit? You know what I mean? You don't.
That'll fail. That mindset will fail. You'll guarantee. Like that's just running before you can walk.
If you go chasing the zeros, you lose that integrity almost.
Exactly, and like I want them to walk away thinking, you know what, it was we had to pay a bit for it, but at least they got what they wanted. You know, rather than that guy was so expensive, never go there again.
Yeah. The thing is though, especially like with business and like marketing, especially, it's all about the customer experience at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even it could be the best cake in the world, but if they thought you was a wanker, or they thought the whole thing, like the whole process of receiving the cake was shit, it don't matter how good it was. They'll never get it again.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that it seems that you've got the way that you've kept this loyal customer base that always come back time and time again, and like you say, the £15 cakes have been paying your bills for over a decade. It sounds like the whole customer experience and the brand itself, it's in good shape, mate, so hats off.
Because I always even that wedding that I'm talking about, like I kind of shot myself in the foot. My business was always so personal. I did try opening up other locations, but the second I was leaving one location, everyone's asking for me there. So my thing was going to the place of delivery where I can. I can't. It's impossible to be everywhere, but seeing it all through, and when they see you on the day at the wedding cake, on the wedding, especially something like that, you're almost paying for a VIP service, if you like. And like, I'm hot on, that's me all day. I've got time for my customers all day.
So even yourself now. So you say you're taking a little bit of a break now. You say you're getting a new warehouse. Is that what you're looking into?
I'm looking to. I can't find one as yet that fits, because I feel like I don't need to be. I was in a city centre, on the outskirts of a city centre. My shop was.
This in Wolverhampton.
Yeah. And I don't need that. Without being big-headed, I don't need that shop window. Because my online stuff speaks for itself. Through the pandemic, they were coming to me without having the premises anyway. So. I feel like the next step should be on a bigger level. So what if, like, no one's ever done it, to have order a wedding cake from a warehouse, but why can't I do it? Do you know what I mean? It's still the same product, but at least I want to get funky with it. I have like a funky studio. I want all the celebrities to come back and sign the wall and stuff like that. All of that kind of stuff, and host like champagne and cupcake parties and stuff like that. So I'm thinking on a whole new level. I'm thinking, how far can I take my passion and now I get to lead, whereas before the business was dictating to me. I want to kind of, because the idea I think is you can't be working all your business life for not to make the big boy decisions. Now I want to make that decision and make it work for me. It might fail, but you know what, if it fails, it fails. I want to take it to that level.
Think you've come far enough, mate. Even if it did fail, I'm pretty sure. So you should be proud of what you've done, mate.
Thank you.
Fair play.
Would you say that you're targeting, like, is it just domestically? You don't have any plans to sort of, what's to say you couldn't go to LA and do a pop up, or go to do pop ups all around the world and things like that?
It's a dream, but my personal life. Got a 5-year-old. I refuse to be away from him too much.
Yeah.
I bet every day he's class with all that cake.
He loves that, doesn't he?
Man, sweet tooth is something.
I bet it is.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I know.
Fresh when it's fresh out the oven, he's been there in the shop. And he's like, Daddy, can I have some cake? I'm like, have it, go on. And it's boiling hot, like he's boiling hot. The cut-offs are, but he'll still cool it down and eat it. We ask him to eat anything else, he won't eat it. Kids for you. But I did get asked to do a cake for Mr. Abroad. When I say abroad, it was Ireland. Even the logistically would mean me having to go out there, do a bit of research, find a kitchen.
Yeah.
Because I'd want to do everything myself rather than... Because the easy thing is to outsource it all and just take the credit for it, but you're not gonna. It's not the right way.
It's not got your spin on it, has it? It's not your personal touch.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I've done that before. I've outsourced cakes when we're too busy before, but I feel like if I'm gonna do this now, I'm gonna do it all fully. You know, how they say in the music, you want to own your own masters or something.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I want
100%.
to own everything that I put my hands on or put my brand next to. So I would love to. The dream, Dubai, Hollywood. You know, anywhere, just I would love to, all my favourite artists do a cake from, because if you look at it, have you ever, your favourite rappers, have you ever seen them next to a cake where the cake is just as good creativity wise as a person himself?
I imagine.
That's why I love Big Michael Dapper's cake, because his cake was so much fun for me. That was a real fun cake actually. That was cool.
So I said I had one more question, but I've got one more now, just before we close off the app. If you could make a cake for somebody, who would your dream cake be to make for anybody in the world, dead or alive? Ideally alive, or if you've thought of someone dead, then give me someone alive as well.
I don't know dead, because that's just too hard.
Right, cool, just go for alive.
Michael Jackson's got to be up there.
Oh yeah, MJ.
But alive, well, it was going to be Rihanna before she
got knocked up.
You don't know what them craving, them pregnancy cravings.
You don't need them cakes, you know.
I've been saying it for years. I want to do a cake for Rihanna one day, man. It'd be cool.
Production staff, Puggy loves Rihanna.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Yeah,
who doesn't?
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Like Mike Tyson, I feel like would be.
That'd be a cool one.
I mean, you better do the boxing glove standard, but
of course.
creativity wise, you could get some real funky stuff going with that cake.
That'd be good for the highlights on Insta, wouldn't it? 100%.
Put some extra ingredients.
Dead right. Well, cool. Pug, how long have we been going, mate?
50 minutes, that right?
Beautiful. I think that's great.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Well,
amazing.
Paz, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure talking.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
So Instagram's probably the best place. Paz Heer. That's PAZHEER. And that's follow me on there.
Cool. Buzzing.
Amazing.
Thank you, mate.
Well, thank you so much. Right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
See you next week, gang. Boom.
Was it nice
Beautiful.
one, mate?
Good stuff.